So this time we're going to do a manual testing for all our application which we have deployed so far. So this time we are not directly going to access our APIs, but we're going to use the retail app. As a consumer, where we're going to create user, we're going to create products so that the product will actually go and configured in warehouse. And then as a consumer, we are going to order product which will detect from the store or from the retail inventory. But in that case, supply chain app would automatically raise another order or a replenishment order, which will go to the warehouse, and then warehouse will ship another set of product um, back to the retail app. So we can see that when consumer is ordering, it will actually go into out of stock, and then once the order fulfillment process completes, it will automatically come back to the retail app for consumers to purchase. So let's get going. A few things we need to do. So this is our MongoDB Atlas, where we actually configured our retail database. So you can actually see there are collections which is already we have already created it. So we started with the collection 0, but because I've already running the application, there are a few other collection automatically created by the application model. So the user, products, orders, and categories. So what we're gonna do is we're going directly going and accessing our retail app. So this is how the retail app looks like. You can copy the URL from Kubernetes services, which is basically the retail app service, and that is available on 3000 ports. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're just going to quickly create a user. So I'm just gonna use some and some dummy password. We are not going to use this user, but I'm just going to show you one thing which is very important. So the user is created. Now if you go and see the user table, we will have that user created. Now the only thing, I already have one user created, which I'm using as an admin user because we need to create products. The only difference between the normal user and admin user is this role field. So if you see here, it's actually showing 1, which is an admin, and if it is a 0, that's a normal user which we just created. So we're gonna go back and sign in as a admin user. Yep, and we directly gonna go and create a product. So we just need to choose a product image, which is, let's just choose a USB charger. So this is USB cable. I'll say price is £9. It's again electronics. Yeah, yeah, of course, one more thing. I mean, I've already pre-configured those categories, but in the admin dashboard, you can also create multiple categories. And then for store, I will just use one quantity so that we can show once somebody ordered it, it will go to the out of stock, and then once the shipment completes, it's come back again. And for depot, I will say we got 2 in warehouse. So that is created. So if I go to the shop now, I should see 2 products of the headphone one I've already created before I actually started this video, and this is the one which we just created. So what we're gonna do now is basically we just going to add this product, and we're gonna use, so there are a kind of sample credit card which we can use for this particular application, um, and expiry, and then we're just gonna pay. So what will happen here is it should basically say out of stock, because we only configured one stock in our local inventory, so that gone. Now if you see here, this is our supply chain worker which runs every 5 minutes. So it should actually get the information about the sales order, and then based on that every 5 minutes is actually collect all the orders and then prepare the replenishment orders and are posted onto the order service from where the whole shipment and everything starts. So what I will do is because I think the last one ran on 15/17. Yeah, so I think it's going to be anytime now. This will actually receive the message because I wanted to show some kind of a worker kind of logic where we're going to collect all the orders and then submit all the orders together. That's what I've just scheduled this for 5 minutes. So yeah, so it's actually executed. It says order is created. Now what we can do is this order is now moved to warehouse services where we have order, shipment, stock, and everything, right? So what we can do now, it should still show as a out of stock because the whole shipment is not completed. There is a manual process required to receive the shipment. So what we will do, we will go back to um, our postman, and that is from using the services we can directly make that shipment received. So for doing the shipment receive, we need to know the shipment number, and the shipment number we can get it from our query service, right? So how to actually get it, shipment number for query service, we need an authentication token as well. So we're going to access our auth token. Now one thing you need to remember that because we installed a gateway, now we can actually use a gateway URL for all the services instead of using their individual external URLs. And in later stage, we will actually reconfigure our services to not exposing the external IPs or URL, but only exposing the cluster IP so that we can secure those services, and those services will be accessed only via our API gateway. So the URL it should be common for all the services. So let's just first get the token so that we can access our query service. And we go to the query service. This is the same URL. We just go and change the token. And what it will give us, it's basically, so if you see, there is a in query service there is a URL which basically gives you a list of orders, and you can define how many latest orders you want to see. Now I mean, ideally we should have a dashboard or an admin dashboard or operational dashboard where you can see all the orders and then you can ship those orders and things like that. But to develop that also we need these kind of APIs. So currently we are directly accessing the APIs. So this looks like our order, which is basically order ship position. So we need to go and receive that order. So we need a shipment ID. So we'll copy the shipment ID. We go to the shipment service, which is again the same URL, which is our gateway URL. So we just post the shipment ID here, and I think we need the new token as well because we haven't changed the old token in shipment service so far. So when we go to the shipment service, we just change this token, and that's it. So that's basically saying that okay, I have received the shipment. That message now going back to the retail app. Retail app should be, when we now see the retail app, it should actually have one item in stock. So we can just go and refresh page, and it's become in stock. So we can now add an order again. So that's, and basically last thing we can also test is going back to the query service, and this status should say order close. So if we just submit this one again and it says order close. So this basically completes end-to-end testing where our app is connecting to the supply chain logic, then supply chain logic creating orders, and then the whole order process with the shipment and stock checking and all those kind of different things happening in the warehouse services, and then the feedback coming back to the apps retail app saying that this is what your order and this is what the product you got it. So your inventory will be now updated. So I think that's it from the deployment perspective and from the end-to-end testing perspective. Thank you very much. Thanks.